I felt that the only way that I could make her happy was if I stop being myself, if I stop socializing, if I stop dancing, and if I stop talking with other people. So that's why I broke up with her in my mind. You are fighting for everything. You are jealous with me, with everybody. So that was at the beginning our biggest problem, I think.
It's awful because it's exhausting being jealous as well. This always comes out from insecurity, I think. I'm really glad to be more free now and that I don't have to go out with you and be afraid of what will happen next. Nothing ever happened, but in my mind, a lot of things have happened.
Welcome to International Love Story, the podcast about intercultural relationships. My name is Christina, and in today's episode I'm going to welcome Freimy and Nadine. We are going to make a deep dive on topics that are super important and sometimes are a little bit uncomfortable to talk about. Nadine and Freimy shared with us how it is to be jealous and how to handle jealousy on both sides. We did do a deep dive, especially on this topic, and I really appreciate their honesty and also for opening up and being so vulnerable, as I know how difficult this is. I myself, and you will listen to that in the podcast as well, when dating Nacho in the beginning, I had a lot of stereotypes about Latin Americans, and I was quite jealous as well. So I definitely know how it feels like. I know where it's coming from. And I'm sure that the one or the other here will be able to relate to their story as well. Besides this, obviously, they're going to share their love story, how they got to know each other, and what they've planned for the future. Both are living in the Dominican Republic at the moment. Let's dive directly into it. Let's welcome Freimy and Nadine. Thank you so much for being here today. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us all about you.
Hello.
Lady first.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Nadine. I am 35 years old and I'm actually living in the Dominican Republic for almost 4 years now. I'm living together with Freimy, my boyfriend here, and we are located in the North Coast in Cabarete, it's called. Yeah. And you?
Yeah, I'm Fraimy. I'm Dominican. I've been living here in Cabarete for my whole life. And almost 2 years ago, I met Nadine, and here we are in a podcast now.
What initially brought you to the Dominican Republic?
It was in 2018. I was studying, so I worked and I studied, and I had the opportunity to make a semester abroad, and I could either choose go to a university or to work in a company. And as I wanted to learn Spanish and I wanted to go as far as possible, I just Googled where can I speak Spanish, which country is far away from Germany. And then I ended up in an NGO, and they were looking for volunteers. And 1 year later, I packed my things and I flew to the Dominican Republic for 6 months. And then I had to go back to Germany again, had to finish my studies, had to finish my work as well. For me, it was clear, okay, I want to move there, finally. I prepared everything and now I'm still here.
So you fell in love with the country, with the people, with the weather, because like if I think about the Dominican Republic, I imagine a paradise. I imagine like beautiful beaches, obviously the ocean. How was it for you? So what did you fall in love with, especially that you were like, I need to come back and alone, sola?
Yeah. So first of all, the weather, because I'm not against Germany. I love Germany still, but I can't handle the winter time because all the gray sky and a lot of rain, the cold. I've always been like a summer kind of person. And yeah, I went to Samana, which is it's not that touristy.
Very
And
rural.
yeah, very rural and very beautiful. So I think 2 days after I have arrived, I went to a beach, to a lonely beach, and I was like, "What is this real?" It looked like a postcard or something like this. And then I knew, wow, I don't know, it felt so right to be there. And I think I also liked the total opposite of Germany, because during the first years I lived in a real Dominican style house with only cold water, with a lot of power outages and noisy neighbors. But I think I needed it to disconnect me from my former life, because my former life was very busy. I had a 9-to-5 job, and I just lived from one weekend to the other and from vacation to vacation. And I was so sad when I had to go back to work after a vacation. I was crying sometimes the night before at home. And I felt that I could change it. And then I searched for an opportunity to still work, but to do it like out from paradise.
And that sounds lovely. I know that your story comes with a few hurdles as well. As mentioned, we connected with one another before recording today. But what I'm especially curious about is you met someone a couple of years ago. So you adjusted in the country, you learned the language, or you improved your Spanish even more. I know that nowadays you feel quite comfortable in the Dominican Republic. How did your story started?
Nadine came to Cabarete 2nd of July, and I was dancing in a party that they were doing on the street. And I was just a bit bored there. So dancing, but I didn't feel like much chemistry with anybody. And I saw her coming, and I said, finally, someone came. I'm used to invite people for dancing, but when I saw her, I got a bit nervous. Like that was my job for a while too, to invite people to dance. But with her, I felt like, oh my God, I felt pressure. And I was waiting that a friend of mine invited her to see if she was open for a dance. And he did. So I said, okay, she came for dancing, then I will invite her. And her friend, she felt that there was something in the dance, and she recorded our first dance.
Did you dance exactly? I know that you're a dance teacher as well, Freimy. So I would like to dive deeper into that. Bachata, obvio.
Maybe we should mention that this was not like a party in a club at night.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
a
a
social.
social, it's called social, where you dance bachata and salsa and merengue. And there it's very usual to ask people that you don't know if they want to dance with you. So everybody is dancing with everybody.
So that's why, now that I think about it, I don't see the logic of me feel pressure of inviting her for dance, because if she's there, she's willing to dance.
But do you remember your train of thoughts? What did you think when seeing her that you were so almost intimidated?
Yeah, I felt that she was going to reject, because she's not very smiley person when she's not talking. So she's like very German face. And I said, maybe she doesn't want to dance. Maybe she came here only to watch. Then I invited her for dancing. And it was funny because in those days I was like in a German bubble. I saw a few reels about German, and I was studying German before. So I made like a silly joke to her. I knew it was silly, but I just wanted to make her laugh. And she can laugh of a silly joke. It means that she has some interest.
So that she's just laughing to be polite because she likes
Yeah,
you.
yeah. If she doesn't like me, she won't laugh at a silly joke.
Exactly, yeah.
If
So
she likes me, she will laugh no matter what.
and she laughed.
Yeah, it's like I was throwing my head. It looks so ridiculous. Like two little lovebirds, actually. It's funny to see it. I'm so glad that my friend recorded it.
I'm so curious. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that, to be honest. But Nadine, so how was it for you once you were asked?
I saw him before as well, but I actually just came out of a bad relationship and I was not open for another relationship. And I was not searching for my next boyfriend neither. So I was just there to spend some days with one of my best friends and just dancing and talking and doing girl things. So I was neutral. I was okay, nice. He's nice looking because obviously this is the first thing that
Very nice looking.
the first thing that I noticed. And yeah, I was a bit shy because my dancing skills were not so good at that time. And I saw immediately that he's a very good dancer. So I was a bit shy as well. But then I felt very comfortable when he was talking with me. He had a nice perfume and yeah, it was good.
And at the end of the night, I was helping the hoster to put the tables in, and she was standing next to me, and I said, "Oh wow, she likes me." And then afterwards, she told me, "No, I'm just being polite."
Yeah, because I helped them to put out the chairs into the locker room as well.
I said she's waiting for me.
But she wasn't.
No, she wasn't. But then I didn't know what to do, if invite her and her friend to other place to talk, or just leave and leave them there. And as I'm a people pleaser, I invite them to other place where we had a nice conversation. So it turned there because in my mind, everybody can, when I'm dancing, I think everybody can see who I am, but they just see the part of me that is displayed in the dance floor. You just see like a guy that is looking for a woman, like a womanizer, because you just see that part of my personality, and maybe that part Nadine didn't like that much. But later on, when we were to a quiet place and we start talking, and I I asked a few questions like, "What's your love language?" And as she comes from Samana, I know that there she wouldn't have a conversation like they did with me, and she was a bit surprised because in her mind, Samana was Dominican Republic, and now she's in other part of less rural. So for her it was surprising, and I was asking questions, and I asked, "What's your biggest fear?" And her
Not being liked by others.
and mine was to get old. I really hate the image of me very old and very vulnerable. So I think the vulnerability kicks me when I need others to help me. So and that was the core of the conversation. Like I was asking her a lot of questions, and they were answering the questions, and was not on me. In the dance floor, it's about me. I know that when I dance, everybody look at me. So I don't want the attention anymore. I didn't want the attention anymore. So we went and I put all the attention to them. So I think they felt comfortable with me, and they open, and they.
Yeah. And I like that my friend was included because we booked this trip together, right? And it was clear the whole time that if we are going for a drink to some place, we will be together. And yeah, we had such a nice conversation, and I saw all the green flags popping up. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that she was asking for your love language, I wouldn't have known, like, just putting myself into your shoes. If Nacho would have asked me, I would have been overwhelmed. I would have been like, why is he asking me for my love language? Like, what is it? Is it like a deeper connection already? Like, I'm not sure how I would have reacted. I think I would have been impressed, first of all, but I think I would have been confused at the same time. So how was it for you when you felt like, okay, the conversation is going on to a very deep level and most likely, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not so often that you make an experience like this.
No, that's true. I think the good thing was that I didn't feel, I felt still comfortable because my friend was with me and it wasn't one of his first questions. I think it was at the end of the night. And before we talked, we could talk about everything immediately. And we shared so many interesting stuff. And I think it just fitted in quite good. So I wasn't like, oh my God, is he going to marry me? I think we had like 2 or 3 hours of talking and then
Oh, wow.
it was good. It was appropriated.
Yeah. Also, what's her biggest dream? If she could just move the magic stick and do something, what would you do? What did you do? I don't remember. I feel bad now.
Yeah. Obviously he didn't listen.
I didn't say I was listening.
I think it was to be healthy and that family and friends are healthy as well. And that sickness.
It was nice that the contrast between my two personalities, because when I'm in the dance floor, I'm one person. When I'm talking, I'm another person. And I've always had problem with that because some people, they like me as a dancer, but they don't like me as a person. And some people likes me as a person, but they don't like me as a dancer because they are two different person. I think I created them just to feel myself completed, like that I'm full.
I mean, to be fair, I think the dancing personality is also your professional personality and it's your passion. Like there's so much connected to that. So I understand that you kind of created two personalities around you. I just find it interesting that people might even notice that they do a deep dive and that they realize, okay, it seems like you do have two personalities. Once they start having a conversation with you, having a deeper conversation with you, and obviously in your case, it brought you to where you are nowadays. Like those 4 hours, you said, approximately 4 hours just talking after you danced. While Nadine, as she said, she just tried to be polite. And you thought she's sticking around for you. I think that's just lovely. Because that's just like a little misunderstanding in many quotes. So you said your goodbyes. Did you exchange numbers? Did you agree on a date already? Did you meet by chance again? How did it work afterwards?
Yeah, I invited her for a coffee next morning. And I thought the next day was going to be like an easy morning for me. But it was a bit messy. And I was in rush because I had to meet her for breakfast, but I had to work. So it was in my break and my lunch break. So it was terrible for me. And I didn't have time to text her that confirm, like, then see you at 11 or at 12. And for her, now you say your version.
Yeah, we changed our Instagram accounts. And so I was talking a lot about him with my friend. In the morning, I was a bit nervous as well. And I wasn't expecting that he would text me to invite me again, because I thought maybe it was just like, okay, last night and now it's done. But then he texted me right late, I think 1 hour before we said we could meet. I did not confirm the night before. I just told him, please confirm me tomorrow again and send me the location or something like this. Yeah. And then he texted me and yeah.
But I said sorry to not text.
Yeah. He said, I'm sorry that I did not text you before. because I was in a rush or I was busy at work or something like this. And are you still available at 12:30 or something like this? And I read this message very, very nice as well, because I liked that he said, okay, I'm sorry that I'm so late to. So my inner German was very happy. And yeah, then we met and then.
And I didn't know that Germans, you have to plan everything so much beforehand. So for her, it was late to text, but for me, it was like almost in a good time, 1 hour before. It went 5 or 7 hours, and
after you have opened your eyes.
then there we had another conversation, and I had a call during our date, and I had to leave, and she paid our first date.
Yes.
I mean, which is okay, because as a German, we usually go Dutch as well, like 50-50.
Yeah.
But I think also, I mean, not every woman, but most German women, they're quite understanding. And I guess Nadine, you assume that you're going to see each other again, so that wasn't a deal breaker. But maybe you can share how you felt in that moment when he just left you with the bill even. How was it for you?
It was weird because he left me. I have to go. Come to my office in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes, and then we can continue talking, because his break was over, and I think you got a call from your boss or something like this, and that's why he had to go.
But I paid the night before.
Yeah.
Because and the night before I said I'll pay everything, so don't worry about it.
But for me, it was so weird that he left so quickly. I think this was worse than that I had to pay, actually, because I don't know. For me, it was like, huh? Why is he leaving now? Why? I couldn't get it so well, but it was fine. So I wasn't mad or something like this. And then I paid, and then I waited some more minutes, and then I went to his office, and then we talked a bit more. Yeah, and then we
had another date. At night.
Yeah, and then another lunch date, and then I had to leave back to Samana, and the distance is like 4 hours drive. So we continued texting, and then we have visited each other, and yeah, I think after 3 months, I moved to Cabarete then, because I wanted to move, because Samana was really, really rural, like we said in the beginning. Not a lot of nightlife or things to do. Not like a culture which I needed at that moment. There are a few restaurants, Dominican restaurants, a few bars, nice nature, and that's it. But I was full of all the things that you can do in Samana, so I needed a change, and then I took the opportunity to move to Cabarete, because here it's like we have big supermarkets like in Germany. We have German bakeries, we have sushi restaurants, and over there in Samana, where I lived,
German butcher.
Yeah, German butcher. You have like nothing. You sometimes you go to the supermarket and you can't buy apples, for example. And so I was really, really happy to go back to civilization. I call it like this again. Yeah. And then we continued our story, and then we moved in together, and yeah.
Was there a point where you were officially boyfriend and girlfriend? How does it work? Because for example, Nacho and I, we have 2 different versions of that. So it's not like we have the date or anything like this. We didn't really, I mean, we had a conversation, but we had several conversations. So it's very difficult to pick out like, okay, that was the time where it was official. Like for me, it started earlier. For him, it started later, the relationship, for example. How was it for you?
So my version first, right? So we said that we will be exclusive, and that we would like to get to know each other a bit better. Yeah, just to be sure if it's like relationship potential, I guess. But then I think after 1.5 months, I was like a bit, I don't know, what do we have here? And okay, we are exclusive, and we had good communication, and we saw each other on a regular basis as well. But I wanted to have something like fixed, like, is it a relationship? If not, okay, we have to end it, because yeah, I wanted a relationship. And then we went out here, and a lot of people have asked Freimy, yeah, oh, who is it? And then he always said, we are dating. And I was, oh man, this sounds so boring. We are dating, we are dating. I think I tried it 2 times, and he said, let's continue like this. We are dating, we are exclusive, but we are not in a relationship. And then I think it was, a weekend where I went here to visit him again. And then he said, I don't know how it was. He mentioned the word girlfriend for the first time. And I was like, ooh. And then it was clear. I don't know. And from this time on, everything changed again. So it was nice before, but it was even nicer and more deep. And yeah, this was, I think, September 5. Yeah. So
and my version, it was that she was coming here to Cabarete to visit me, and we spent some time together, but I was not feeling like I was not feeling like I wanted to be her boyfriend. And I get to know her, and it was nice, but I didn't feel it that much until I went to Samana, and I saw how far she was traveling to see me. And I saw that every time she came here, it was 4 hours of driving plus hotel and those things. I saw, oh, wow, she really liked me, and she's investing her time and effort to see me. So she sees something on me that's really important. Then in that moment, I woke up, and the love started. I remember we were camping. It was so uncomfortable there. Her stupid dogs were barking, wow, wow, wow. And I was my first time camping, and it was very terrible. But in that moment, when I saw her searching for the tents for camping and setting up everything, it was really, really cute that she does something. Normally, when you are dating here in the Dominican Republic, you as a man, you do everything. So, but with her, it was so easy, so smooth. So when I came back, I thought about it. I spoke with some friends, and they said, she's perfect for you. But still, I had to think it. Then in that moment, I felt it, but I was then scared, or I had a bit of fear. Then when she came back, I just said, yeah, you are my girlfriend. Like, I wanted to be with you.
This was before I moved. So
Yeah,
I was thinking of moving during the whole process, but I did not move before we were not officially together. So this was during the time when we had to travel to see us.
Back and forth. Would you say, Freimy, that, because I know that obviously I'm German myself, so we show affection a little bit differently than in other cultures. And then also we had the topic of love languages. Everyone has their own love language on top of this. So once you saw that this might be her way of showing affection, showing love, taking action, making sure you're comfortable, basically going out and about, putting a lot of effort in everything she's doing, that you realize that this is her way of showing you that she really, really likes you. And was it also the cultural difference that played a role? Because I'm not sure how the women in the Dominican Republic are usually. But for example, here in Argentina, like the women are a little bit more expressive about their opinions and about their affection in general. So they're very talkative, they're very open-minded, while we Germans are a little bit more reserved in certain aspects. So do you think that
So,
plays a
yeah,
role as
some
well?
aspects. In some,
And some, for example?
sometimes she tells me, I don't want to have to ask you this when she wants something like something romantic or something like that. I don't want to ask you that. But when it comes to cleaning the house, she is very expressive. She says everything with detail. Like you have to move this side so many degrees. You have to put it that like that. Because I noticed that there is normal cleaning and there is German cleaning. It's very different. So she is very communicative in that aspect.
Because she knows she sees it, and if it's not at its place, it will bother her.
Yeah.
So then we prefer to communicate, because otherwise every time we see it, we'll be annoyed by it.
Yeah.
And it makes us mad.
And I think the problem sometimes, maybe, we have like the first cultural problem here or shock. When he comes home, he immediately takes off his shirt. But I think it's a Dominican thing. I don't know, because it's always hot in here. So, and he won't put his shirt in the basket for the laundry. He puts his shirt on the table in the living room or on the chair. And I don't like that. So I ask him, look, could you please put your shirt into the bedroom? And I think he understands this like a passive aggressive phrase, but it's not, because here normally you communicate with very, very clear instructions. Here maybe I should say, put your shirt in the bedroom. And
in a nice way, but with those words.
Yeah, put your shirt in the bedroom.
Yeah, whenever can you?
Without por favor. That's
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, she would say, "Could you please blah 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 put your shirt in the?" I feel like she's like aggressive inside, and she's
There's
saying,
this undertone.
"Yeah."
You
For
think,
me, it's like you can tell me, can you put this in the bedroom like normal and not use all those words that makes your aggressiveness smoother. That's how I understand it. But we've talked about it, and she say it doesn't mean that.
No.
That for her, it means that I don't care about her when I put the shirt in some places. But for me, it's nothing. It's just that I come home, and I just turn off my brain, and I don't even know where I throw my shirt. You ask me where I throw my shirt, and I don't know how to answer it. It's not about her. It's something that I normally do.
autopilot, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because we have the same discussions, honestly. So, but
No, I have to ask her that it's not that she cannot ask me to do something, it's the way she does it. Like if it could be more tranquila, like more chill, maybe in the other moment, not when she's feeling it, because for her it's nothing, and it's nothing to add to the way she says it. For me, it's very, very aggressive. But for her, she tells me, "No, I'm talking," and I say, "You're not talking. So you are fighting." For me, it's always fighting, and for her, it's always talking about a subject.
But I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's a thing how we grew up. Maybe a Dominican woman that has the same tone like me would trigger you as well, and the other way around. I don't know.
Or maybe she would clean and don't.
Maybe.
so, I mean, no, I'm also very communicative when it comes to that. Some things I gave up. I accepted them that they are the way they are. So it's not worth pointing them out over and over again. It's just like in any other relationship as well. I call them special effects. So Nacho has his special effects. I have my special effects.
Yeah.
And they're just, yeah, fine. Like we deal with them. We're aware of it. And we also aware that it's not worth it to go against it because specific things will just not change, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's funny that for a woman, it's always a man that it's doing something wrong, and you don't reflect how many things we accept from you. For example, whenever Nadine has to tell me some story of something that happened with her, she has to tell me every detail of everything. And for me, that's very annoying. That she has to tell me everything. Then she tells me what happened, and I have to deal with all that. So she feels that I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
in our case, it's different. It's funny that you
it's
mentioned
very
that.
different.
In our case, it's the other way around. So I'm the one that's direct and not just the one that doesn't find, that's not getting to the point, where I'm just like sitting here listening and waiting for the story, like for me to act.
I
like,
tell her,
react and be
I
like,
tell her,
what
Nadine,
are
to
you
the
trying
point.
to tell me?
Yeah.
I always say Nadine to the point. Nadine to the point. What is the point? What she said? The point. Like I need to know the point. Then you tell me the other thing, because if you tell me the point, I could not listen to you and put my brain in flight mode, and and I got the core of your message. But if you go around, I have to listen and listen and listen and listen.
Yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic. So that's the interesting part of a relationship. But I'm not sure if it's actually a cultural difference, to be honest, because again, like in our case, it's the other way around. I'm the one who's like, Nacho, can you please get to the point? I don't understand what you're trying to communicate here right now. While else he is just like making up a story. Like Argentinians, they are big storytellers. They love to tell stories. And it's very fascinating because sometimes I'm feeling like, do they actually breathe in between? Like, and I'm the one who's just trying to follow and is just super lost, especially in Spanish. Like Spanish is just like a different dimension. So I'm lost all the time in Spanish. In our case, we kind of, or I at least, I got more patient because like that's also, everyone has their own way of communicating, you know, and I know that this is the way how he communicates. He likes to tell the story. So I sit here, I listen to it, and I wait patiently. And if I don't understand, I will ask like, hey, is this what you were trying to tell me? Because there's so much around it and I just didn't get it completely. But I think that just comes over time in a way that, you know what to fight and what not to fight anymore.
I have to admit, he is a really, really, really chaotic person. And I'm not 100% structured, but more structured than he is. And this is, I have to deal, I have to learn to accept still, but sometimes I can't because
that comes with creativity.
It comes, or I know that you spent some time in Europe and we'll get back to that later, or you just moved to Germany for 5 years as we did, and your partner is more German than you are. So Nacho has so many characteristics that are so typical for a German that I'm just like mind-boggling. And punctuality, for example, he gets annoyed if his friends are not on point, if they just let him wait for half an hour longer or anything like this, and he's just like, you're wasting my time is like precious as well. And you know, like he's also very open-minded and he's communicating it up to a point when we moved to Argentina and he hang out with his friends were like, dude, you changed. You're a completely different person in so many ways, because like his time in Germany, he adjusted in a way that I am nowadays. I'm like, this guy is more German than I ever was, and I have no idea when this happened.
I don't know if I can handle that much structure. I think I need some freedom. And you have to understand that.
Yeah, it's fine. I like the freedom as well, so it's not that I hate it, because actually I'm late without being stressed here too. So it's convenient for me and
But
as well.
she is more Dominican than I am now. For example, last night we have to go to dance at 9, and I'm always on her, like, Nadine, please, Nadine, please, Nadine, please. And I'm on time, but she's...
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I texted her like 1.5 hours before, Nadine, can you please start like getting dressed? And I come here from the gym. I was starting to train. So I trained. I came home, took a shower, get dressed, and she was preparing still.
Yeah, that's true.
So in your boyfriend, it's more German than you were, and Nadine is more Dominican than I am.
Did it come over time, or was it always like that, Nadine, that you were like last minute?
No. So last minute, yes. So in school, for example, I did everything last minute, every like homework. Also during my studies, my bachelor thesis, I started very, very late. That's like that, but not that I was late for things. So that is new.
So that came with living in a different country.
Definitely.
Because honestly, I have troubles to nowadays, after, I don't know, 8 years of relationship, to really point out what's a culture difference, what's the personality, what's like a gender difference, what's a little bit of everything. So it just becomes one at some point. And then it just like really, when you try to figure out, okay, where's this coming from? It can be quite tricky to really point the finger on it, because in the end, it's just a little bit of everything, most likely. Yeah. So it's never getting boring on your end as well. At least it sounds like always something new.
Yes, always something new. Living here means, I don't know when I think last week I was so frustrated. I told him, we have to move to Germany. I can't live here anymore. Every day we are facing struggle, because someday there's like no electricity and the backup inverter is not working. Then the water pump is not working. I don't know what else. Then the internet is not working. It's normal here because I know that he grew up like this, and it's
worst. Now it's very advanced, but before it was worst. And for me, I tell her that you now are living like doctors and teachers and professionals live here. So I know it's hard for you to get used to, but you live like the rich people, and you still don't, you complain. So for me, it's like, why are you complaining? You live like a tourist here. For me, it's perfect, everything. And for her, when I went to Germany, I understood what she meant, because there everything works. Everything works so fine that it's annoying. Everything.
You don't hear your neighbors. We were living in the apartment of my father for a couple of weeks, and he said, it's so quiet here. I can't sleep because it's so quiet.
Yeah, I needed some noise.
Some background noise.
But the real problem comes when I have to meet my family in Nadine. And for her, it's always different, because they come late, or they didn't bring what they said they were bringing.
Or they are not coming.
So I had a trick that to them, I tell them we will meet at 6. And to Nadine, I tell her that we are meeting at 8:30. So if they come 2 hours late, for Nadine, they are coming early.
Mm-hmm.
So and for them, they are coming late. So it's a perfect time.
That's a fun trick. Yeah. I used to do that as well with Nacho until he figured out that I was doing that. And then it didn't work anymore.
It's funny.
In Germany, yeah. And eventually, again, he got Germanized. So now he's
you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
And not too much. I mean, now it's getting like he's getting a little bit more easygoing again now that we're here since 10 months already. So he's slightly adjusting to the customs way of being in general here. Yeah, but it was interesting, especially in the first few weeks in Germany, that I did the same as you did with your parents, telling them another time or telling him another time. And again, it worked until he figured out that I was doing that.
For me, now we were talking what she bothers and what you bother about your boyfriend. But for me, the most annoying part is when she gets mad. She gets mad at how we Dominicans we socialize with each other.
Oh.
For her, it's always flirting. Like whenever I say hi to a 75-year-old woman, she said, "Why are you flirting with that grandma?"
75-year-old woman. Yes, of course.
Why are you so flirty with everybody?
Yeah.
And for me, it's that how we are.
Yeah.
Even with guys, I'm like that. I'm always say, "Oh, wow, you look so handsome, and you're so looking today. Where are you going? Are you getting married?" Like that's how we go through it. We always compliment to each other. She doesn't bother when I say that to a man, but when it's to a woman, she opens her eyes like, what is happening? So I
But if
think
you're like that with a woman, like what is flirting like? So how would flirting then look like for you?
for me, I would act more normal if I'm not flirting. Like I'm more flirty if I'm not flirting. If I don't act like too polite, then I'm flirting because I wanna look composer. I want to keep myself together, and I don't want to laugh that much because that person would think I'm silly. Then for her, it's all the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like I'm flirting with everybody.
So if you would flirt, you would think it's a normal conversation then.
Yeah, I'm more quiet, relaxed.
Now I will have my eye on your normal conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, how is it work?
Now I don't flirt anymore. I don't need.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Me neither. No, but I think it's better. Is it still that worse?
Yeah, it's better. It got better, or I got more quiet.
I have to admit, he is very, very social as well. And I'm a bit shy at the beginning when I meet people. And I'm a bit like, okay, let's see what's happening. And then I will talk to them. And he's like, oh, hi, how are you? And yeah, in the beginning, and it was a bit overwhelming for me. But now I know
Yeah, she's okay.
who he is and how he is acting. And now it's better, I think. So from my perspective.
But it's funny because in my culture, for Dominican, I'm shy. But in front of her, I'm the most extrovert person that she ever met.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that definitely a few cultural differences you're still adjusting to.
I mean, it's a lot to adjust because we have to find a middle ground. It's not fair that I ask her to accept me just the way I am because I'm not accepting her boundaries. If she doesn't like me to be like that, the thing is that I cannot change that part of me, and she cannot accept that 100%. It would be nice if she accepted that, and I do whatever I want, but I don't think that's the goal.
It's more difficult, definitely, if just one person has to adjust to the other, while the other is just like not showing any effort. I think at least this is how I would perceive it, I think, if that would be the case. If I feel like I'm the one who's moving into one direction while the other one is just super stubborn and is not moving into my direction at all. But I was wondering because, again, like you do have the culture difference. So there are specific special effects you have, but also Nadine has. So there's a lot of things to adjust to. And you've mentioned that there were like some major discussions, I guess, especially in the beginning, when you have disagreements or when you fight. How do you fight? How does a disagreement look like? And how do you communicate in order to find a way to get out of that together in order to prevent it for the next time?
So the good thing is that we can talk about everything, I would say. So we can also talk for 1 or 2 hours about a problem, and we try to find a solution. But at some points, we had discussions where we said, no, I don't get your point. And the other one said, no, I can't get your point neither. And we said, okay, then let's just accept that we can't agree and let's move on. And then it's okay. I think this is
At
good.
the beginning, what was your biggest problem?
So in the beginning, I was like jealous. I had trust problems in these kind of things. And then going out with him and with his like outgoing personality and in the dancing scene, it's always a bit, I would say it a bit more complicated as well, because then you're dancing with other people. Then there's, for example, a woman, and I thought, wow, she's so nice. She will steal him or something like this. And these were our major problems in the beginning. But I think it was because I came from a relationship where I couldn't talk about these kind of things, and where a lot of cheating was involved as well. So, but I know that this was my problem and this is my problem and it's not his fault. But in the beginning, I was so not sure about everything that this was our major problem. Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was like I was guilty before I commit any crime. So I was trying to defend myself for something that I didn't do. And that always bothered me, that whenever I get a partner, I don't want to justify myself for the way I am. I am the way I am, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. But it was really hard for me to the point where I broke up with her in my mind, but I didn't tell her that I broke up. So I was waiting for the moment to tell, look, this is not working. I cannot handle this anymore. Till things got better, I spoke with her. Look, I like you, but this is not healthy for me. I cannot go more with it. The problems that we have living together, plus the problems she brought from her last relationships, and the problem that I have as a human, like all that, I didn't have all that when I was alone. So you just brought me a lot of problems. You don't bring me anything. Just brought me jealous. Now I have to act different when I go out dancing. Now I have to talk different with people because you don't like the way I interact with others. I felt in that moment that I didn't deserve that. That for example, I've worked a lot for me to be less shy. And for her, it's natural that I go out and talk. And for me, it's a lot of work that I get to that point. And I feel that the only way that I could make her happy was if I stop being myself, if I stop socializing, if I stop dancing, and if I stop talking with other people. So that's why I broke up with her in my mind, until something happened in her. Maybe she spoke with friends, I don't know, and she understood that I was getting away. And in one discussion, I told her, look, I don't love you anymore. You turned off my love for you because of the way you act every day. You are fighting for everything. You are jealous with me, with everybody. So that was at the beginning our biggest problem, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a personal thing that I couldn't help myself, because the first thing I told her before started the relationship is that I don't want to pay for a crime that I didn't commit. I don't want to pay for your ex. I don't want to pay for nothing. And she was, every time that something happened similar with things that happened with her ex, she was triggered and like, no, I am Freimy, Fraimy. I'm like no one that you ever met, and you know that one. It's it's not ego. It's like I am Freimy. I'm a new person in your life. I have to create my own background with you. You don't know me yet. I have to create my own reputation with you. You don't imagine that someone dies in a city far from you and they tell, no, you are guilty now. You have to prove that you are innocent. So that's how I was with her. The crime happened far away from me. I'm here in Cabarete, very quiet, dancing bachata, and I have to prove her that I'm innocent. So I have to prove her that I haven't slept with that person while I'm with her. I have to prove her that I worth her trust. That was my biggest problem, was that one, that she brought me a lot of problems that I didn't have when I was alone. And because you remember at the beginning, I told you that I like that she brought solutions to my life, that she made my life easier. So that what made me fell in love with her. Then when we were together, see, she changed. She can tell what happened after.
I don't know. I don't know how it changed. I think because you communicated clearly, okay, until this point and not further, I can't handle this anymore. You take me like I am, and you get your things together and you think of a solution for it, or we have to separate each other. Yeah. I think this was like an okay, alarm. And how he always has treated me and how he is in public with me and how he is in front of his family and his friends with me. So to be honest, there was never a situation where I should have felt insecure next to him. It was only here in my mind.
As you've mentioned before, just you make your experience and you are in another country, and I'm not sure if you kind of stereotyped as well, because I think the boyfriend you had before was from the Dominican Republic as well, right? So that you kind of had the perspective that all men must be like that in this country. So you better be careful, otherwise you will get hurt again. And I understand that it's, quite a tense time, or that it was a tense time for the both of you, especially for Freimy, who had to prove himself communicating it, like facing her and being upfront and reminding her, because obviously you didn't do anything wrong, but you felt like you did something wrong because the way she was acting in that very moment, and she was communicating with you, and you felt like you have to change for her to be happy, but obviously that's not the solution.
No, if I change this, she would ask another thing and another thing. And I always say, if you try to please a woman 100%, that's not an ending point. Maybe I'm not the person you thought I was. Maybe you deserve better, or maybe I deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. The fact is that it's not working. I couldn't handle anymore, because when I stopped going out with her, because it was easier to stay home, watch a movie, than to be with her in public. Because was a lot of things involved with her, and I said, what did I do? A lot of things were involved in that, because I didn't. It hurts me that you stereotype me. I know that she is stereotyping me. So that's why it bothered me, because all the things I've done in my life, all the things I worked in my life. So for her, the person that sleeps with me, she thinks I'm like the other person. Like there is nothing special about me. For her, if the closest person thinks that you are like other person, like the rest of the people, so for me it was denigrating that part.
I'm very glad that you found a way to communicate that, Freimy, and to show your limits and be like, okay, I communicated openly, I want to be fair. this is how far you can go. If you cross that line, I don't want to be with you anymore, because I feel like that's the hardest part, because like obviously even though you've mentioned like there was a time where you didn't feel the love anymore because you felt like criticized most of the time. You felt like I have to change apparently so that she will just stop being so jealous or insecure. I mean, it's like it's coming all like everything, the way she reacted comes, at least as far as I understand, from a lot of insecurity in her previous experience. And you don't want to feel like you have to prove yourself over and over again. So I'm very happy that you found your way of communicating and that you decided to choose the clear communication, because the easy way out would have been like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't want this. I'll move out. We'll separate, and I will just ghost her. I mean, it happens as well.
I used to make a joke with her that she was treating me as I was a cheater. Like I had the treatment of a cheater without having sex with the other person. It means that I'm not having sex, the fun part of cheating, but I'm having just the hard part of cheating, because I was not having sex out of our relationship and I was having sex here. I used to go to sleep and think like, what the hell am I doing here? And it's funny that she once, when we were dating, she told me, and I asked her, and why didn't you leave the relationship? And she said, because I felt trapped in that relationship. And I said, you should have left when you didn't feel that he was not treating you right. All that passed. So time after, I am not being treated as I deserve, and I cannot tell her I'm leaving, because I think I should have told her, look, I'm leaving. I don't deserve this. So I was trapped in that relationship. I was in the same position she was, that she couldn't just left. It was ironic that same happened to her than with me.
In your case, though, you decided to stay in the relationship.
I wanted to talk with her. I didn't want to leave, just wake up one morning and say, look, I don't want to be with you anymore, without talking. Because I didn't talk with her. When I explained her, I did it once. That didn't mean that she changed. I explained her again, so it became easier for me to communicate what I wanted. To the point I said, look, this is my limit. You are making me feel this way. You are not treating me right. I'm treating you well. Or if I'm not, you tell me. If I'm not treating you, she was, you treat me very well. So I was asking, then why are you acting that way? She kept the same story over and over and over. Like, it's not you, it's me. And that made me feel even worse, because I'm not brave enough to tell her in that moment, like, I'm leaving.
I mean, you didn't tell her in that moment, but you told her your action will have consequences, and that's the consequence. And this is the moment, apparently, Nadine. I mean, I feel like we're doing a very deep talk right now. So I hope it's okay. I hope it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable or anything like this. But I feel like in that moment, Nadine, you just needed that to be clear in your head, and to really have someone who's shaking you awake and who's just like, girl, you see what you're doing here, right? Like, that's not the approach, and you're just not doing any good with your actions of. And I understand, like, being insecure. I have been there before dating Nacho. There was a lot of jealousy involved as well, because it was very difficult for me to understand how a person can just be so open-minded with everyone, like very similar to your situation, to be honest. And also the relationships I came out before, they were not good. So the two relationships before, and there was one person that also didn't treat me well, and the exact same situation you're just explaining here, we have been in as well. in a way that Nacho was just like, Tina, you have to keep on moving. Like, you have to keep on moving. Otherwise, I will be miles ahead of you. And then it's just not going to work anymore. And I was like so shocked and so impressed at the same time in that very moment. Also, the way how he communicated it, it basically drew a picture in my mind that I was like, this man is right. So this is not the way it's supposed to be. And from one day to the other, at least this is how it felt for me, it was the trigger that was pushed in the other way again. And I changed my behavior. I changed my mindset. And it was a very weird, but also very, like, was a feeling where I felt like I'm free now. I can be whoever I want. I don't have to hide. I don't have to defend myself. I can be open-minded. I can communicate my fears, my thoughts with this person. I don't have to be afraid of anything because he's doing the same with me. And I mean, from there, it was just like going up to nowadays, where we found a very good way of communicating, actually, and where we can make fun about like our little twerks we both have, where we know exactly, okay, I can't change that fact, he can't change the fact, so we just deal with it, whatever. It's a fun story to tell later on. But, it's just, I don't know, sometimes you just need a moment where you feel like you're at your lowest and where you need another person that just tells you, listen, you behave like an asshole right now, in order to really change your perspective and your train of thoughts. And I think that's very interesting because a lot of those things you're just explaining, I see a lot of similarities in the beginning of our relationship, where I was the insecure one and Nacho had to prove himself over and over and over and over again, making sure that he's pushing my ego, because I didn't have an ego, to be honest. I was like so small. And he built it and I built it. It's just very interesting to have someone sitting in the other end of the world making a similar experience, and making it work as well. And yeah, again, it's great that you had that conversation and that you figured it out after all.
That's true.
I want to listen your version.
I feel better that we could figure it out now, because now we can go out and I don't have to be afraid. Oh God, which woman is asking him for a dance right now? Do I need to check it? Do I have to look at them? And it's awful because it's exhausting being jealous as well. This always comes out from insecurity, I think. I'm really glad to be more free now and to don't go out, that I don't have to go out with you and be afraid of what will happen next. Nothing ever happened, but in my mind, a lot of things have happened.
But it's funny because I've never been unloyal, but with her, I wanted to be unloyal at one point because she was treating me. See what she was pushing me. I'm against cheating, but I wanted to make it to her because she was pushing me so hard. Our house was a battlefield. I didn't want to go home. I just wanted to go to the gym. Boxing, jiu-jitsu. I was looking for things to do out of our house, just not to be with her, because I knew that she was going to fight with me for that I didn't put it in the place, or she would remember that I danced with other girl that it was too close and
in 2010.
Yeah.
And not together. So it's so ridiculous sometimes.
So I wanted to be any place but next to her.
Yeah, this is not how a relationship should like.
Yeah.
Not what love should feel like. Yeah, I understand that there are a lot of things going through both of your heads in that very moment. And obviously you overcame this point. So I'm wondering, because you guys, you are, dating is the wrong word in that terms, but you're girlfriend and boyfriend officially since 2 years, right? A little bit more than 2 years now.
1.5.
1.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I also know that, so for everyone who's listening and or watching right now. So you guys have social media profiles as well. You've traveled together. So what happened afterwards after you found a way of communicating and after you found the balance up to a point where you finally started a healthy relationship? How did it grow from there?
Then we started, because I'm a very creative person. I think I have ideas, like good ideas, but I didn't want to share it with her because I didn't want to build anything with her because I knew that I don't want to keep this 10 years or 20 years. I would be masochist if I wanted this for myself, what I was living. So once it started, then we talk about traveling together. Then we start talking of business together, of then say making plans like travel, making our profile of dancing. Like she's my dance partner now. So it started like it came naturally, and the love came when she stopped being like she was. Like it came back naturally because it was there. I felt that she didn't give the time to grow again. She was cutting it like 2 days, one day without fighting, the next day in the morning fighting. So 2 days without fighting, then a week full of fight. She understood my boundaries and my limits. Yeah, I then naturally I started making plans with her again.
Mm-hmm.
For you?
The same? No, I think, yeah, because we are making plans. I think this is what's the outcome, so that we both can think of a future together, and that we want to be together in the future still. Yeah.
And how will your future look like? So what are your next steps? What do you have planned for the next few months, years?
The next thing we have, it's a travel, like a trip of Germans to come here to dance bachata. It calls Bachata Escape, where they will come here. We will host. We will provide them
Hotels?
hotel, dance, food, and tours. That's our next plan together. Then we have a road trip for Europe
Mm-hmm.
next year.
Summer, next European summer. Yeah. In May, the group of bachata dancers will come, and we will host the bachata travel vacation thing. And in June or July, we want to go to Germany. Yeah. And we want to do the road trip to Italy, actually, Switzerland.
She has the plan.
I have the plan.
I know that I will go to Europe.
German, I have the plan, of course. Everything is booked.
Oh, nice. And Freimy is just gonna follow you. Nice.
She doesn't have to worry when we are teaching
Mhm.
bachata. She just
Yeah.
follows, and whenever it's a plan, I would love to plan something, but her expectation of planning it's too much for me because she looks for the schedule of the place that she wants to visit. What can we do after? What can we do before? The restaurants, like everything. And for me, it's like, oof.
Yeah. I know where you want to go and where you don't want to go. And yeah, of course, I will present you everything. You can say no or yes, but yeah.
I mean, that's nice, Freimy, that you don't have to worry about that part, so that you can just be like, okay, she likes to organize. She likes to organize in detail as well. So she does what she knows best. I'll do what I know best.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna work out somehow. And as long as you are involving each other in the decision making without making a decision with one, without the other one, that's the best.
I say, I just want to go to this place, one of 30. You want to go to this place.
Yeah.
We do whatever you want.
But you have been to Europe together already, and as you've mentioned, you've also been to Germany together. How was your experience in Germany, especially knowing her cultural background as well? Was it an eye-opener in many
Yeah, it was.
cases, or
I
how
was
did you
gonna say
feel
that.
like?
Then I said, then I saw that Nadine is a normal person there, and I'm the weird and disorganized there. And I saw how organized is everything. And the traffic, it's really quiet. It's smooth, not like here. The bread is really good. I didn't know that you have so many kind of bread. For me, bread maximum 4, and they taste the same. But there you have so many and so good, all of them.
Yeah, we do. We do have some really good bread, and the bread here sucks in Argentina, and I miss it. I miss the German bread.
Damn it, I missed it.
Yeah. It's so cliche.
You're a woman.
What?
You should know how to make a bread.
And with the right tools and with an oven that would work, but the oven we have here is not working proper.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I know. You're very sarcastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely have some plans ahead of you. One last question before we end the conversation, and that's one of my favorite questions. If you could give an advice to any person that's listening that's also in an intercultural relationship, what would it be based on your advice?
So I think one advice.
Yeah.
Do you have your
You're waiting? Yeah.
I have
20.
several, but the one thing, learn the language, I would say. So learn the language or agree on one language where both of you are comfortable with. And because we are talking in Spanish, I think we have another level. We are communicating in Spanish. With learning the language, maybe to add learning the culture or the background of the culture. So understand, why is he behaving like this, or why is she talking in this way? And this is also like, get to know the country when you are not living in the same country or in the country of your partner or something like this. If it's possible, connect yourself with the family, with the friends, to get an insight. Why is the person acting like this? And this is an eye opener to talk the same language and to get to know the background better with the country and with the family. That is what has helped me a lot as well.
So in my part would be patient with the other person, make your boundaries clear, and tell that person what you accept, what you are capable of dealing with, like what you can negotiate and what you cannot negotiate, and do it very clear. And you have to keep your word. And if that person doesn't respect it, so that's a no-go. And understand that the other person has another background, that, as for example, when I went to Germany, I saw that Nadine, it's normal there, but in my family, she thinks I'm very chaotic, but I am the most organized in my house. I go against how I was raised. Like I'm working with that, because we are 3 brothers. Imagine 3 brothers in a house. That's messy. So you have to know the background of the other person, and you have to be patient, and you have to put your boundaries really clear.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing your advice, for doing an in-depth with me today, especially on your challenges in the beginning. I really appreciate your honesty. And yeah, that we were able to finally have this cast recording and that we made it work.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to, as always, so for everyone who's listening and or watching and who is a regular, I'm going to link everything, your Instagram accounts, your social media accounts in general, in the side notes as well as in the video description, so they can connect with you. So if the one or the other wants to do a bachata journey in the Dominican Republic, I guess you still have some spots available, or is it fully booked already?
No, we have some spots available, but we can agree on private tours or just meet like friends and go out and have a fun night. So
Nice.
it has to be like a business meeting or something like that. We are always happy to welcome people that are interested in the Dominican culture and the dance. Yeah.
So they can connect with you directly if they're interested to learn more about the country, the culture in general, when they want to connect with you. And
If they are coming to the country, they can text us, not to Punta Cana. Everybody thinks that Dominican Republic is Punta Cana, and Punta Cana is small.
Yeah, there are a lot of other nice places that are worth with it, right?
Perfect. So guys, make sure to visit them. I would love to visit. I don't know how to dance bachata. I know how to dance tango, at least a little bit.
Oh,
but I'm sure
it's tango because we don't know nothing about tango. And Nacho knows as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean that every Argentinian knows how to dance tango. Come on, the stereotype. But yes, his friends, indeed, they all know how to dance tango. So maybe in our bubble, the stereotype is true, but usually like his generation or the younger generation is not learning it anymore. Unfortunately, I think wonderful. I love watching tango. I wish I could dance better, but I'm a little bit stubborn. So that's the problem. It's quite difficult to navigate me because I would always push against Nacho in that case. But yeah, so someday we're going to make it work. We'll visit you. Obviously, if you should ever be close by or in Argentina, you're more than welcome to stop by here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening and or for watching to today's podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Again, I really appreciate that they've opened up so much and that they've showed the honest and raw feelings, what they've been through, especially in the beginning. If you would like to tell your love story as well, you will find a link below in the side notes and in the description. And as always, you will find their contact details below as well. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and leave a 5-star review if you're listening on Spotify, on Google Podcasts or anywhere else. This would help me a lot because I invest a lot of time, a lot of energy into this podcast. And I want to make sure that I reach a wider audience within the community, and you can help me with that. If you would like to be part of the community, I have 2 communities. One is online, where women in intercultural relationships share their advice, they're supporting each other. The other one is on site here in Buenos Aires. And yeah, in case you're living in Buenos Aires or you're just here to visit, definitely check it out. You will find it below as well. With this being said, you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are right now, and take care. Bye.